What is up, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of Assessing the Hospitality Industry of Skyrim. On this episode, we're going to dive into two smaller hold capitals, but hold capitals nonetheless, Morthal and Dawnstar. If you've never been with us here before on Assessing the Hospitality Industry, we go from town to town, land to land, and just assess the hospitality in each individual town and determine, do I want to spend my leisurely time here? Do I want to spend my hospitality time here? 6 categories on a scale from 0 to 5. Those categories being safety, beauty, entertainment, bars and restaurants, friendliness of people, and accommodation. The most points you can possibly accumulate in this exercise is 30 points. And that's all of these cities' goal, 30 points. Now without further ado, let's get into it and head into Morthal. Upon entering Morthal, I immediately noticed off the whip that the town doesn't have a wall. There's already a safety minus. Yet another safety minus hits when, I walk in, I witness multiple men arguing about a house that just burned down in town. And a lot of these guys seem to think some wizard is responsible for it bringing down. So yeah, now there might be some evil wizard in town burning down random houses. There's these 3 very prejudiced guys here. So, I don't really know what to think right now. I also got into a brawl with this one guy, and he was easy work, but then, a guard walked straight into my punch, and next thing you know, I was a wanted man. One thing I will say, I do like this kid a lot. Definitely one of my favorite people I've met here as a hospitality surveyor so far in Skyrim.
Gorm thinks I'm mad. He doesn't say it, but I know he thinks it. Is he right? My mother sees things. She doesn't know why, but she does. Only sometimes, she doesn't see me at all.
Just because I'm right here, I decided to enter the Jarl's Hall to see if the Jarl here in Morthal is nice. Jarl Ingrid Ravencrown is actually really nice. She's old, but overall friendly and welcoming. I also decided to check out the house that's now burned down, and you know what? If I was a homeless guy, this would be a pretty sick spot to hang out. I also hear rumors that the surrounding area here is not very safe at all, which kind of concerns me considering the fact that this city doesn't even have a wall. But yeah, overall this town has been very boring so far, very small and not really much to see to explore. So I finally decided to head into the Morningside Inn, the local inn and tavern. The owner straight up acknowledges that there's not very many travelers that come through here. So that's kind of a minus. Clearly no one wants to engage in hospitality here, possibly because there is none. Although one thing I will say is I've interacted with various people in town already. So far everyone's been nice. Although sadly, there might be a little bit of racism in town, as no one seems to like Lubbock the Bard simply because he's an orc, when objectively, he's actually not a bad bard. Finally, I'm done exploring this very tiny city, and I'd like to get a room for the night. The room is actually quite large and spacious, but there's a lot of clutter in here. A lot of clutter in here that's not necessary at all. So much like they use this room as a little bit of a storage, which is definitely a turn off. But yeah, overall, I'm already done with this town. I mean, there's really just not much in the way of hospitality here at all. It's time to go to sleep and get a good night's sleep and head to the next town. Before heading over to Dawnstar, let's quickly rate Morthal. For safety, I give Morthal a flat 2. The town itself actually feels somewhat safe, although the house burning down causes it to lose some points. The surrounding area also seems to be very dangerous. There's no wall to protect you from all the various crazy creatures out there. In regards to beauty, I give Morthal a 3.1. There's nothing too special or fancy here. Lots of snow and one beautiful lake. But overall, Skyrim has set a really high standard when it comes to natural beauty. Morthal just doesn't really stick out. Entertainment, I gotta give Morthal 1.2. They at least have a bard. He's a pretty cool guy, but objectively, he's pretty bad at his job. His voice is also very bad and hard to listen to. Bars and restaurants are going to get a 1.3. It's overall not great. The Morningside Inn is a fine inn, but however, it is not a great tavern at all, and pretty basic and similar to the rest of Skyrim. Friendliness of the people overall has got to get a 4.3, and everyone in town was really kind to me. There might, however, be a little bit of prejudice in town toward a certain wizard. I can't support and not support it father and burn down that house, however, because, I don't have any evidence to prove things one way or another, because I'm just a, humble hospitality surveyor. However, it's a little concerning that people instantly blamed him. However, everyone was just really nice to me. And finally, last but not least, accommodation gets a 3.2. And as mentioned above, the Morningside Inn is a fine inn. I liked how spacious the room is. It's just, however, like I mentioned earlier, it's filled with unnecessary clutter. Had it been not from the unnecessary clutter, this would have scored a lot higher. Oh yeah, and I'm flat out scared of the fact that the burned down house is located right next to the inn. Is the end gonna be next? But overall, Morthal scores a failing grade of 15.1 on a scale of 1 to 30. Not great, but kind of expected that score overly high with how small the town is. We'll look at the final scores of everything at the ending of the video, compare the score that Morthal and Dawnstar had to the two previous towns we've checked out, Wolfden and White One. But anyways, let's head on over to Dawnstar right now. As I start to arrive into Dawnstar, there's this scary abominable snowman guy that lives in a cave just outside the city. Like, right outside the city. And the dude chases me and, eventually I get into town. He stops chasing me, da-da-da-da-da. But man, this is kind of scary that this guy lives just outside the city. Like, no one thought about going over there and, shooting him with some bows and arrows and stuff. Yep, no one did. Plus, there's not even a wall around the city. So, this abominable snowman guy could easily invade the city. Scary stuff right there. I went into even more scary stuff, as the first guy I talked to in town is a local blacksmith, and he recommends I leave town instantly because no one gets a good night's sleep due to nightmares. Everyone in Dawnstar claims to have these nightmares. God, this is scary. The sad thing in this town too is they practice child labor in this town. I mean, this poor boy has to run supplies to the miners all day in exchange for a place to sleep. Man, this place is rough already. There's also a lot of people in this town that seem to have beef with each other. I mean, the two opposing rival mines don't like each other very much. Some dude named Brian has beef with the Jarl over some dispute that has to do with who they're siding with for the Civil War. Jarl Scott is also kind of a dick and very old-fashioned. Not a fan. But yeah, overall, this town is so far extremely sad and depressing, and everyone just seems thoroughly exhausted by all the nightmares. I do kind of wonder what the overall mood of this town would be if not for the nightmares happening. But hey, I'm just a humble hospitality surveyor, not the Dragonborn or anything. I can't control whether people have these nightmares or not, so, just kind of have to take the cards I'm dealt with. But yeah, the depressing mood of this town makes me feel like I need a drink of 5, so I decided to head over to the Wind Peak Inn, the only inn/tavern in town. Off the whip, I really like Karita the bard a lot. She takes requests and she even sings. She's definitely the best bard I've seen up to this point in Skyrim, and definitely a pretty big plus.
Braggart did swagger and brandish his blade as he told of bold battle.
Yeah, not bad at all. I'm running into this priest in the bar, and he's kind of bringing down the mood, talking about the whole nightmares thing, about how he's trying to stop it, and they may or may not be as a result of some Daedra works. But hey, I'm just a humble hospitality surveyor, with a Dragonborn or anything, so I'm not gonna be able to help this guy out with anything. Now I gotta focus on the task at hand. I end up booking a room for the night, thinking very well that I'm going to be the victim of various nightmares, but the owner of the inn actually tells me that I'm not going to be, as these little nightmares don't affect visitors at all. I guess the Daedra just really hates the people of Dawnstar, maybe it's on some ancient burial ground or something. The room is very similar to the room I had in Morthal, which is why I like to combine these two cities, because they're both eerily similar. The room is still very spacious, but it still was a little bit cluttered, much like Morthal, but not quite as bad. But yeah, I fell asleep, woke up, and I was not the victim of any nightmares in Dawnstar, which is a huge plus. I, of course, don't have any video footage of this, because my camera guy forgot to, put a battery in the camera, so, sometimes this happens, when I make sure my camera's on his A-game. Okay, everyone, now trying to get into the rating aspect of this thing. For safety, I give Dawnstar a 1.7. Yeah, I don't feel very safe here at all. The fact that a Daedra may or may not be giving everyone nightmares here, and a abominable snowman lives really close to the city, is pretty scary. Although, I don't really think anyone in the town itself is all that dangerous. I don't think there's any real bad guys in town. But overall, a lot of what is surrounding the town is scary. In terms of beauty, I give Dawnstar a 3.4. And overall, it's actually a pretty good looking location. I really like the location with the snowy mountains right on the lake. I mean, it's very pretty. Can make for some pretty good national parks here someday. Entertainment, this city is pretty good. I'm gonna give it a 3.9. And honestly, this is about as high as you can get for a city in Skyrim. And this is all because of Karita, the bard. She's goated. The fact that she sings and takes requests is a huge plus. She's damn good. She sounds good. She looks good too. Bars and restaurants, I'm gonna give Dawnstar a 1.3. I really don't see much separation at all between Dawnstar and Morthal in this category. The Wind Peak Inn and the Moorside Inn are pretty much the exact same place, except one has a good bard, and the other one doesn't. For the list of people, I'm going to give Dawnstar a 2.1, and overall, it's not a very friendly town at all. Now, I know people are kind of, facing some problems that may make them a little bit more grumpy due to lack of sleep. But overall, not a town of very many nice people. The box work was cool. and so is everyone in the end. But overall, the town just lacks nice people, and also seems like so many people in town just hate each other. Finally, last but not least, in terms of accommodation, I'm gonna give Dawnstar 3.5. And overall, there's not a huge difference between the Wind Peak and the Morthal Inn in this category once again. Wind Peak was just a little less cluttered and a little bit more cleaner. That's it. Means on a scale from 1 to 30, Dawnstar is gonna score 15.8. Let's go ahead and take a look at the overall leaderboard, and to no one's surprise, White One's way out ahead, and Dawnstar and Morthal have extremely similar scores. I will say, I am kind of surprised how much higher Dawnstar and Morthal are than Riften, but Riften was really sketchy, really not safe, and their accommodations were horrible, whereas Dawnstar and Morthal actually did pretty good in the accommodation category. But yeah, that's going to wrap up our latest video of assessing the hospitality industry of Skyrim. Thank you everyone for watching, and on the next episode, we'll be tackling a different town in Skyrim. And this other town we're attacking is going to be a little bit bigger than these last two. Stay tuned.